Alright folks, so in today's video we are going to take a look at the Adams FCC CB radio by President Electronics. Before we start, I want to mention that there's some buttons down below. A like button, comment button, subscribe button. Go ahead and click them. It'll make you happy. Now, before we get started, I did want to say that I was contacted by President Electronics, and they asked if I would do a video review of this product. Of course, I said yes, so they sent this to me free of charge in exchange for this video review. You can see this radio includes their feature for automatic squelch control, which is really nice, and we'll talk more about that when we do the product demo. They have a 2 to 3 year warranty depending upon if you use a President antenna or not. And then looking at this box, you can see some various features like a 7-color display. There's not much information here. There is a diagram of the radio on the bottom of the box, and you can check that out as well. Let's go ahead and see if we can figure out how to open this box up. And we got it open. All President radios come with this sticker for your swagger wagon or your beer fridge. It comes with a product manual that is in a few different languages. We're going to take a deeper look at this further in the video, but President does do a really good job of documenting the features and step-by-step instructions for how to operate or work the radios. And let's see what's in here. We have the microphone. This microphone appears to be absent of any controls other than the push-to-talk button. So as a result, this is a 4-pin microphone. You can see that here. It seems to work, or actuate, I should say, just fine. It also comes with a mounting bracket and a bag of parts, and in here there is the mounting hardware, some screws, and a spare fuse, which is pretty handy. Now let's take a look at the radio itself. Everything seems to be packaged quite nicely, and then here's your power lead cable. Let me get this bag off of here. And then there is the front of the radio. You can see the mic connector. As I mentioned, it's pretty limited in terms of functions, so there's not a whole lot of buttons or controls on this particular radio. The controls seem to turn fine and have the appropriate amount of tension. There are holes on the side for mounting, and it has a bottom firing speaker. On the back of the radio, you can see the antenna port, a port for a PA or public address system, and an external speaker should you choose to use one. And then there is the inline fuse on the positive lead of the power cable. We're going to go ahead and put some power poles on here so I can connect it up. Okay, hopefully everybody made it back. I'll include these links below so you can check them out and get more details. But this is the product webpage from President Electronics. And then you can see this Adams FCC radio. Here are some of the quick specs: 40 channels, up-down channel selector, volume adjustment, S-meter. It has a filter and a noise blanker, function key, beep function, Roger beep. This is more of a budget style radio. It's not a high-end CB radio, and it's priced appropriately for that. If you scroll down here, you can see more detail, and then there is a tab for documents, which goes to the product manual, and I've already opened that. And then here's the product manual. One thing I'll say about President is they do a really good job with their documentation. There's not a whole lot to this radio, so there's not a whole lot here. The manual has a diagram of the radio. It comes in English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. So all my Portuguese viewers can rest assured that they would be able to read this manual. The first thing is they go over some installation and they show you how you would mount this radio in your car, for example, or maybe even in a shelf in your ham shack. I like to keep a CB radio in my radio shack, my ham shack, just because we do have some activity here from time to time, and I'm a radio enthusiast, so I like to have that around. It also goes over some information about antenna installation and power connection, and then it walks through the various procedures for doing different functions on the radio, and we're going to walk through those, so you don't need to read all this on the screen right now. But anyhow, I feel like it's a pretty well written manual. When you take a look at it, it also has some technical vocabulary with definitions, and it also has some CB language. So if you hear people say certain phrases or words on the CB, that maybe you can be familiar with these. My favorite one is over here. It's part your hair, which means behave yourself. The police are ahead. All right, we are going to jump into operating the radio now. Thanks. So here is the Adams FCC, which can be picked up for $59.99 in the link below. When you turn this radio on, you see it say ELEC, which means it's set up or configured for an electric microphone, like the one that ships with the radio. By pressing the up arrow while turning the radio on, you can switch this configuration to a dynamic mic. We're going to go ahead and switch that back because, as I mentioned, it comes with an electric mic, not dynamic. We're also going to take a quick look at how you can change the background colors. You want to push the CBPA and emergency button and hold them in while turning the radio on. Once on, you can use the up arrow to cycle through the various color options. We're going to go back to yellow because I like yellow the best. And I think that looks good. The CBPA button in the upper left-hand corner can be used to toggle to use a PA system. Just hit the button and you're now in PA mode. Hit it again and then you're going to go back into regular radio operations. A long press of this button will toggle on your noise blanker, and you can see the NB in the right-hand portion of the screen. The EMG button, or emergency button, will allow you to toggle between your emergency frequencies and back to your home frequency. It is pre-programmed with 9 and 19. On one of these emergency channels, you can long press to enable the function mode, and then you can select a new channel and then long press once again. Key up the microphone, and then that becomes your new emergency channel. Here you can see we're switching between 25, my home channel, 12, the new emergency channel, and 19, the second emergency channel that was already programmed into the radio. We're going to switch it back to channel 9. And you can see us switch between our home channel 9 and 19. With the squelch button all the way off, we have enabled automatic squelch mode, which really works well. It will unsquelch the radio once a signal is heard. Here you can see the ASC in the display panel on the left-hand side. When I use a radio like this, I generally leave it on so I hear the static. For some reason, I like to hear the static, and it makes me know that my radio is on. As mentioned, a long press of the emergency button will enable function mode, and then I can press buttons that have secondary options. The up arrow, for example, initiates what's called a Roger beep. We're not hearing it now. In order to hear the Roger beep, we have to have talkback enabled. So in order to do that, we want to key the microphone, and while it's keyed, press the emergency button. Long press, that way we get into function mode. And now you can hear talkback, and you can hear the Roger beep. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, because it's pretty annoying for this video. Going into function mode and pressing the down arrow will set a beep function so that when anything is pressed on the radio, it makes a beep noise. Again, I'm going to disable this for the video. That's really going to wrap up the features portion of this video. And I want to say thanks to President for sending this out to me. As you can see, it's a small radio that would fit easily in a car or somewhere in your ham shack. If you're interested in CB and you're looking for an entry-level radio, this is something that you probably want to check out. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Post any questions, comments, suggestions, or recommendations in the bottom, and I'll do my best to respond.